The NASCAR Winston Cup Series is back here on JRTV for the 21st race of the 2003 season. We're here at the Phoenix International Raceway for the Checker Auto Parts 500. It's a hot one here at Phoenix in July. These drivers are certainly going to be feeling the heat throughout these 63 laps. And we'll see which driver can survive the heat to get to victory lane here at the Phoenix International Raceway. I'm Joe Rakowski. Along with me in the booth, it is Trey Bardone. Trey, no, you've never raced in these conditions at Phoenix in July, because when we've gone to Phoenix in your career, it's normally September or October. So what are these drivers going to be facing here, Trey? Very hot day. It's over 100 degrees air temperature. So imagine what they're feeling in the cars. Imagine how hot the blacktop is on the racetrack.
Yo, I don't know if you noticed me right now, but I took off my jacket. I'm sweating in the booth. Right?
We
and we
have
like
AC.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have AC in here. Imagine what those guys are gonna do today in a car that reaches. Oh, I don't even know how hot they get now.
I mean, this is the hottest Winston Cup Series race on record. We've never had a hotter day. It's never been in the triple digits for a race day, but that's just what you get when you schedule Phoenix in July. It's going to be a very slick track. The drivers are going to be feeling it after the race, and I'm sure they're going to be loving to get some fluids as much as they can, especially during the pit stop. You're going to be seeing an extra crew member going over the wall to deliver some sort of fluid, some sort of drink to the drivers to try and make sure that they're all hydrated, ready to go for the race here today. I know a lot of people say the West Coast has a dry heat, so it's not as bad. But listen, that works if it's like 80, 85 degrees. If you get triple digits, Trey, it is hot no matter what type of heat it is.
I'm pretty sure I saw a couple of the crew members, before the drivers got in their cars and all that, when they were getting ready down there on pit road, cooking eggs on the asphalt. I mean, it's you know what I mean? Like, it's that hot, Joe. It's that hot. They're cooking eggs.
I think after their pit stops, they're going to go swimming in some sort of like big tub of water that they have to cool their drinks, because, I mean, they're going to be in their fire suits ready to go. It is going to be a hot day for everyone down on pit road, especially. You're down on the blacktop. Sun is beaming down on you, and everyone's going to be feeling it down there in the stands, in the cars, on pit road. We're the fortunate ones to be up here in the AC with the NASCAR officials next door, but that's not to say that there aren't people suffering out there for the heat here today at the Phoenix International Raceway. But now to the race. This race last season, as mentioned, it was a little bit later in the season. So that means it was kind of more towards the championship fight, and a lot more towards, it could have really big implications in terms of the championship. Well, entering this race last season, Matheus Wells had a comfortable points lead. It was about 118 points after a great run at the Bristol Motor Speedway. However, early on in the race, he crashed here at Phoenix, ended up finishing outside the top 30, and Trey, he lost nearly 100 points of his points lead right here at Phoenix. Brett Cira enters 170-some points up on Matheus Wells. Cira starts in 19th. Wells starts on pole. Does that trend continue, Trey, to this season where maybe the points leader has some issues? Second and third and fourth in points can try and close and make it more of a championship fight rather than a championship runaway.
And I mean, I would like to say so, but Joe, what have we been saying all season about being second place in points?
You don't want to be second place in points.
Why is that? Because you always wreck, right? It seems like something always happens to the second guy that plays in second in points. So hopefully it doesn't happen this time. We have a nice clean race, but we're talking trends. I don't know if the trend's going to continue or not. I hope it doesn't, but with the way it's been the last couple of races, it's going to continue.
And just think, in 2001, when Phoenix was all the way at the end of the schedule practically in the last 3 races of the season, the top 2 in the championship, Chris Jericho and Brett Cira, left tied for the points lead after this race in Phoenix, and they finished first and second in that race. So Phoenix has always found a way to produce some magical moments for the championship. I mean, heck, last season, Trey, just think about this. Brett Cira dominating the season, leading the points this season. Last season, in the 2002 season, this was race number 25. This was the race where Brett Cira got his first top 5 of the season. Just think about that, Trey, how last season, Brett went 25 races until a top 5. The very next season, he's dominating the season.
Yeah, definitely. It shows you how things go here, and you can never really put a marker on what you think is exactly going to happen, because it's just never guaranteed.
And watch Brett Cira try and make his way through the field from 19th. Mathis Wells, second in points, starts on pole. He'll try and win his first Phoenix race here in the Winston Cup Series. And behind him, his teammate Chris Jericho has won here before. We'll see if he can try and pull the magic and get another win on the season. Maybe claw his way back into an unlikely championship fight position. And also watch for Nathan Baird in 5th, Max Davis in 8th, and Bibi Ruiz in 9th place. Those 3 underdogs qualified very well here at the Phoenix International Raceway and could race well as well. So now go take a look at the track facts here for Phoenix. As mentioned, it is a brutal day in terms of the heat, over 100 degrees out there. Very little wind, and the sun is beaming down on the racetrack. This will be a 63-lap race that ends up with 63 miles. The fuel window, they can go about 37 to 42 laps, so they'll go past the midway point. We'll see if the undercut works better, as the tires are expected to wear out because of the heat and because of the softer compound that Goodyear has brought this season to the Phoenix racetrack. And the banking, 11 degrees in turns 1 and 2. That's the higher banked area, and only 9 degrees down in turns 3 and 4. And I have the pleasure standing next to the driver that has won the most races here in the short tenure that we've gone to Phoenix. He's won 3 times here at this 1-mile racetrack in the Arizona desert. However, among active drivers, Chris Jericho has the most wins. He won here in 2000 and 2001, so he has 2 wins. If he gets one here today, he matches Trey Bartow's win record here at the Phoenix International Raceway. As we'll get on trackside, get the command to fire the engines up. The Checker Autopods 500 about to get underway for the 21st race of the season.
Drivers, start your engines!
The command has been given. 42 cars come to life here at the Phoenix International Raceway. And Trey, let's talk about the man starting in 4th place, Anthony Hernandez. Last race at Bristol, Nolan Lawrence found victory lane for the first time this season, the 19. That was the driver that Hernandez got into a scuffle with at Dover and then also at Road America. So with Lawrence getting his redemption at Bristol, can maybe Hernandez find a way to get his redemption on this season, win his first of the season right here at the 1-mile racetrack at Phoenix, Arizona?
Would it be considered redemption if you were possibly the bad guy in both of those situations?
I mean, some redeeming aspect, just maybe closure on what happened.
Yeah, we can go closure. I can see it happening here. As long as he gets a good start and you know, tries to find himself settled in here, he can definitely shoot himself up there to the lead.
Well, everyone's going to try and fight their way to the bottom. That's the preferred lane here at the Phoenix racetrack. Mathis Wells on pole, trying to get every point he can. He comes in second in the points. The green flag is waving for the Checker Autopods 500. Brett Cira further back from 19th, made it 3 wide on Jay Renner, Roberto Crown Jr. He takes those spots away. Side by side for a second. Jericho on the inside of Conrad Evans. Already Baird slipping back. Strickland and Hernandez fighting for a spot. They come off turn 4. This is the tricky part, as the wall angles back in. They're 3 wide. They have to be careful here. So far, keeping it clean. They're 3 wide inside the top 10. But Mathis Wells leads the first lap for a pole. He gets away. Jericho in second. Evans in third. Strickland to fourth. Still 3 wide for about 10th place.
I'm so confused with why we haven't fixed that wall, Joe.
I hope at some point they hear our cries for something to be fixed there.
It seems like it's an issue every time we come here, and they just don't touch it.
No, I mean, look at this right here as they come off 4. The wall goes out and then comes right back in. A very treacherous part of the racetrack. Luckily, so far, we haven't had an accident with it, as here's a great battle for 9th place. Max Davis has it over Keegan Thompson. Riley Spurgeon trying to take 10th. Further up the road for 7th place, Keyshawn Richardson climbing up through the ranks. Nathan Baird to his outside going for 7th and 8th. And Bibi Ruiz has moved up from 9th to 6th place. Once again, that Melling Ultra Motorsports driver being very, very impressive this season. 3 wide Eli Bright climbs the hill. Here comes Jordan Stout to the middle. Colin Lewis down low. Bright way up the track. Has to avoid that wall. So did Matthew Burnett. And they stay 3 wide right here down into turns 1 and 2. That is for 16th, 17th, and 18th. And Colin Lewis might get both the spots from Stout and Bright.
I mean, this shows you that we can make 3 wide work here, right? Luckily, these drivers know what this track's like, and they'll give each other room where they need to give each other room. But it's always a very nerve-wracking situation just because of how close they get here. As you can see, that's the top almost 10 putting themselves out single file as Keegan nailed the wall.
Yeah, Keegan Thompson got it hard with the right side of that car. Eli Bright can't control his car. It looks like he's very loose on corner entrance. That's the second time I've seen that car go for the bottom, but just slides up the hill. Eli luckily got the run on Joshua Harrison, gets back down in line. We'll see if he can hold it this time. Behind Colin Lewis, looks like he will, but Thompson has some pretty heavy right side damage right there. We'll see if that affects the number 5 car. As meanwhile, the points leader, Brett Cira, started in 19th place, but Trey working his way up. That's the pass for 10th place on Riley's Brewton. So Brett Cira to the top 10, now 9th place for that number 25 driver. What a run through the field so far. 10 spots gained in 5 laps.
Yeah, definitely. He's doing everything he needs to do, as well as second place up there in the lead, still doing everything that he needs to do as well. It's just the only bad side is if you're this 20, you're hitting that the 25 is making his way up through the field right now at a very fast pace. So we'll just have to see how, Cira develops throughout this run here. If, eventually the car will die off if he's not driving the tires off of it at the moment, or, if he can make himself up here inside the top 5 and really put the pressure on the 20 and see what he can do.
Another Hendrick car in that championship fight up there in the points that had a dismal day at Bristol, got involved in one of those crashes, entered 4th in points, left much lower than that. Lathan Strickland, the 48, up inside the top 5, looking for a 3rd on Evans, but here, Trey, at Phoenix, it's such a hard track to pass at, and I mean, even back in, your time with, when you were racing here at Phoenix, the cars weren't as aerodynamically sensitive behind other cars, so it's maybe a little bit easier to pass, but I mean, still a very, very difficult place to pass even back then. Now the cars have gotten even more aero sensitive behind other cars, and you can see right here, Strickland's been on the back bumper of Evans for the last few laps, but has not found a way quite yet to make a move by the 31. It hurts because everyone's running the bottom lane, so it's hard to make a move. You really have to get aggressive with the guy in front to really have a chance to make a pass work.
I'll be honest. Whenever I drove this track, after a while, like if I was Strickland right now, I've been stuck behind him for too many laps. I can catch him. I just can't go anywhere with it. Just use the bumper. No one cares. You just don't wreck the guy, right? It's fine. You just use the bumper. It's made for it. It's on the car for a reason, isn't it?
I guess so, and that's why they call it a bumper. Bump the guy out of the way. As
maybe a little too much, and you take him out. But that was only for the people that had a little thing with. But that's fine.
Yep. Well, Brett Cira moved by Nathan Barrett, the 22 slipping back here, so that speed that he had, obviously just short run speed, as we're now 9 laps in. He's fallen back. He's just lost 3 spots to Cira, to Rando and Atkins. They move to 8th, 9th, and 10th. Barrett trying to keep 11th from Spurley to Stout, climbs the hill behind them. At the front, though, Trey, Chris Jericho has closed up onto Mathis Wells. The battle for 3rd is closed up. Strickland is looking and looking and looking on Evans. He's going to send it in deep down low. Down to the inside, the battle for 3rd is on. Strickland trying to take it from Evans, while the 2 Joe Gibbs teammates run 1st and 2nd, and Jericho closing in on Mathis Wells, his teammate, and 2nd in points.
So do you think JGR is going to play a little bit of a team game here? I mean, they're known for it, but do you think it's going to correlate into this race as well?
Well, I think they definitely want to get Wells at least the most laps led bonus points. So maybe they say, you know what, Jericho, maybe hold off for now. Just kind of stay behind him. Just, feel it out. You guys are pulling away, staying single file, so those 2 are still side by side for 3rd place. So you're pulling a gap right here. Let Wells lead a little bit, and then, once you get a run that for sure is going to work, you can make the move. It's right there. Strickland moves down, but Evans is looking to come back. Maybe just trying to protect the spot as well, as he kind of lets the 48 have it. Strickland climbs the hill. Evans doesn't take the advantage. He knows the 48's faster, just let him go. So Evans falls back to 4th. Strickland final clears in 3rd place, and that battle brought Anthony Hernandez and Bibi Ruiz and Keyshawn Richardson right back into the battle. So that's now going to be a battle 5th on up, as up here at the front still, Jericho staying behind Wells for now.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they just kind of settled out there, and they're just letting the laps tick down, right, and really filling out their cars on the long run here. There's really no need to push. They don't really have any pressure out back, but I am curious to see what this 48 can do if he can catch these 2 cars, what it'll have in store for them or not.
Exactly, and also once we get further on in the race, the tire's going to wear out more, and it could be a little bit harder to make the pass work. So maybe for Strickland, he just wants to try and get up here and get close enough to where he can maybe do an undercut or an overcut on pit road and make it work that way. Some drivers that didn't start out that well are moving their way through the field. Like, Tim Gary did not qualify that well. He's up to 18th place. Sarah Kirchner didn't qualify well. Started outside the top 30. She's up to 19th. Nolan Lawrence from mid-pack up to 20th place. Justin Seidel had a poor qualifying result. He's up to 21st. Laura Chung coming from mid-pack to 23rd. Ryan Wilson had to start out back. He failed inspection, qualified in 5th place. Started back in 40th place. Wilson up to 24th place, while Zachary Fitzwater Sr., who failed inspection once again this season, started back in 42nd place. He's up to 28th. Meanwhile, Keegan Thompson, after that, running with the wall, down to 30th and still losing ground. Hunter Reed's behind him. Reed also failed inspection, had to go to the back of the field. He's up to 31st place. Zachary DeLello's dropped on the start. He's back to 34th. Roberto Crown Jr. back to 36th. Mitchell Collins has not been able to make progress. He's dropped down to 40th place. And Matt Tuck, Jude Martinelli, the last two running in. Two of our drivers in that fight for Rookie of the Year honors. They're down 41st and 42nd place, and that's how they run here at Phoenix. Back through the field as Jericho is pressuring his teammate Mathis Wells. They have a second gap over Lathan Strickland. Jericho on the bumper, about a 10th back, but can't find a way by quite yet. It's still Wells and Jericho, 1-2 here at Phoenix. Does Jericho ever get the run to make the move work, or can Wells fend him off to try and keep leading these laps?
You know, racing IQ-wise and while being in the car and thinking out smart, I don't think there's a team that does it better than JGR. I mean, I know we say it a lot, right, that they work together well, they do all that, but, you know, you would think anyone else, I feel like, you know, especially if it was like RCR, HMS, or someone like those guys, right, they'd be racing each other for the lead, like absolutely hounding each other. But these guys, they're really, I mean, they've kept the same distance between them this entire time.
Yeah, Jericho has pretty much gone to Wells and has said, I'll let you lead a little bit. I'll let you get some laps led. And I think he's also just good enough staying there because who knows, maybe, you know, pit stops are after the midway point. We're expecting them to go beyond 35 laps. That's well beyond the midway point. So if Wells leads all the way up until pit stops and then they pit Jericho laps sooner than Wells and they get Jericho to lead that way, you don't have to worry about maybe a contact on track, battling for the lead. Wells still gets the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, and Jericho get out there off of pit road first, and maybe he'll just lead without having to pass him on the racetrack, and they won't have to worry about contact or close racing.
Everyone's happy for the most part, right?
Yeah, because then Wells gets the most points he can. The faster car of the two maybe ends up winning the race. So we'll have to see if that's a strategy they maybe pull later on in the race if they stay like this throughout. We're 19 laps in. Wells has led all of them so far for pole position. Jericho's still in second. Strickland's still in third. Further back, Ruiz backing up to Keyshawn Richardson. A good battle right there for 6th and 7th. Richardson might be able to find a way by him. And right here, Justin Atkins, a fast car on the long run. Got by Jay Randall for 9th place. Now looking on Brett Cira for 8th place as the race through turns 3 and 4. Atkins has really come alive as of late. Trey's really had some good runs here in that number 30 car. And once again, proving that he has a pretty good car here at Phoenix. Won a few races to go at Chicagoland. Looking to get a good result here at Phoenix to keep backing up those good performances. Get himself back up near the top 10 in points and try and fight for whatever top spot that he can throughout the rest of the season. He's hounding Brett Cira, the points leader, for 8th place.
Yeah, I think we can agree that he's arguably one of the top two, if not the top car here at RCR, and he's definitely shown you why, as he's always at least around battling for the top 10, if not within the top 10 by a good margin. So he here, like you said, is continuing that streak here, as he's still trying to find a way around Cira here, who, like you mentioned, had a quick short run car, but this long run does not seem to be suiting him very well.
Yeah, it's still not bad because he's still gaining on some of the cars in front, so it's not terrible for Cira, but definitely not as fast as the car was on the short run. But the long run pace is still pretty decent. Maybe not as good as the 30 car, but it looks like it could be just as good as some of the cars in front of him. So not too bad for Brett Cira at the moment, as he's trying to keep this 8th spot as best he can, because he sees that he's catching those two cars in front. I think Ruiz is holding up Richardson a little bit. 9-9 needs to find a way to make this pass work. Otherwise, the 25 to 30 will be right there. And then if none of them can make the pass to the 7 car, then it all comes down to pit road, and who knows what type of pit strategy can be played there to make some passes work. But Richardson's still stuck behind Ruiz for now. As mentioned, Phoenix is a very tough place to make passes work, and it's showing here. Richardson can't find a way by the number 7 quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you don't want to take the, aggressive, more physical route of passing someone, you really just got to wait for them to make some sort of mistake, or, go up the track, or just essentially fall asleep at the wheel, right? And you take advantage of it that way, which is, at a place like this, it's kind of hard to do, just because I feel like the margin of error, like if you mess up a corner a little bit, you still have a chance to get that speed off the corner and kind of contest or keep your spot.
Here's Evan Hunter coming through the field. Hunter started back outside of the top 20, was very disappointed with his qualifying run, has been very disappointed qualifying as of late. He's basically saying, man, we're going to drop outside the top 10 points just because we can't qualify. And it's been tracks where you have to qualify well that they've not done well. You think about Chicagoland, where it was a very track position heavy race there. Bristol didn't qualify that well. Now here at Phoenix, these are tracks where you have to qualify well to run well. Hunter started outside the top 20, but has raced his way up to 13th place. He's been one of the few cars that have been able to pass on this long run. Same goes for Sarah Kirchner. She's motored her way through the field. She's moved up to 16th, and then Justin Zeidel up to 18th place. So those are three cars that are really moving their way through the field in the long run, have really been able to show some really good long run pace right here. Hunter closing right up on Riley Spriggs, who's at the front of the field tray. Matheus Wells is opening up the gap over Chris Jericho. It was down to about 1/10.5. It's up to over 0.3 of a second. Jericho falling off the back bumper of that 20 car.
So that's interesting to see there, because they were so close to each other the entire time, and now they're starting to back off. I was thinking maybe, Jericho was in a way saving up his stuff, just following the 20 there, but maybe, he might have been using it up a little, trying to keep with the 20, as if that is.
I was going to say, even beyond that, was him just running behind him? Could that use the tires up just because of the dirty air?
It definitely could. It 100% could play a factor in that, and maybe he wasn't thinking about that at the time, and now he's definitely taking a mental note as, the lead continues to become more distant between them, and we'll have to see how close he can stay before pit stops come, and if any strategy comes into play.
Well, as this great battle for about 12th place rages on from Spurley to Hunter, Wright, and Luke Rainey. Let's get to our Gatorade audience analysis. Get it out of the way before we get to those green flag pit stops, which are coming up in just about 10 laps. Last week, we asked which rookie will take Rookie of the Year honors for the 2003 season. And Trey, this might be one of the more lopsided four-way polls that we've had, because Matt Tuck won with 80% of the vote. The other three had to share 20% of the vote.
80%?
Yeah.
I think that might be the biggest vote we've had, the biggest swing.
Definitely this season, and maybe all time. I don't know. We'll have to get someone to check that. But yeah, it was a lot of people think Matt Tuck is going to hold on and do it. At the moment, not the best race for him nor Jude Martinelli. But I guess if they're both not running all that well, then the 32 is just fine, as Tuck has moved up to 41st. Martinez moved up to 37th. Tuck now down to 42nd place. He's in a battle right there with Henry Guo. But this week, we're going to ask about maybe the amount of winners that we might have this season. Nolan Lawrence, last race at Bristol, was the 13th different winner in the 2003 season. So how many winners will we end the season with? Will it be 13 to 14, 15 to 17, 18 to 19, or 20 up?
Winners, you said?
Yep.
How many are we at right now?
We're at 13.
I don't know if we'll get that many more new winners. I'll be honest with you. I feel like the front of the field's so strong that I don't know if we'll really vary very much. Maybe like one or two more, but I don't know if any more than that.
Well, one driver that can maybe get it, Lathan Strickland, right now running in third place. He's not yet won this season. Neither has the one car, but this big battle, Brett Cira moved up to 7th. Richardson has dropped some spots back to 9th place because he couldn't get by the 7 of Ruiz. But while the 7 was holding up the 99, the 7 has now caught the 1 car, and Hernandez is the clog in this big line of cars. So from the 1 back to the 97, that's 5th to 10th place, Trey. Look at this, all in a line right together. Think about when we get to green flag pit stops, how big pitting 1 lap sooner could be for someone in this group.
Yeah, 100%. And it'll be interesting to see who makes a quick dive on the pit road whenever the time comes, and if they gain up those spots, especially the guy that's just on the end of this little pack here that's struggling. Is that the 97, I think it is?
Jay Brando.
Imagine if he cuts it shorter than all these guys and can gain up right in the middle of that. It may only be 2 or 3 spots, but still, that's 2 or 3 spots higher than what you're running at the moment and what you could possibly finish at.
Well, the window is open. They can make it from here if they want to. I just don't know if they're going to want to come in quite yet, because cautions could happen here, or you just don't want to come in too soon to where then at the end of the race you don't have the tires. But definitely you can make it from here on fuel. And while we talk about that, Matheus Wells has now led the most laps confirmed in this race. He's led 33 of the 63 laps, so no one can beat him there. So Wells has locked up 5 more bonus points, while Cira stuck back in 7th place, battling with Ruiz for 6th place. And as the 20 locked up the most laps led bonus point, Chris Jericho's closing in as here comes Atkins, going for a pass on Cira. That's for 7th place. The 25 didn't get off turn 4 well, and Atkins is going to make the pass down in turns 1 and 2 on the bottom lane, and pit stops looming around the corner.
Now this might hurt Cira, because if he wants to come pit, he's going to have to essentially drop back 2 more spots just to get to the inside line here. So we'll have to see if he's going to have to just hold out at the moment until he can find a space in.
Well, He goes up the track trying to get the run to get in front of Richardson. They almost come together off turn number 4. Richardson being aggressive with him because he comes in third in the points. He wants to beat this number 25 to gain whatever points he can on the racetrack. Battle right there for 8th place with the 25, but Cira gets the drive off the top of 1 and 2 using the worn out tires. Should be able to get that spot easily from Richardson, and now the 99 has his hands full with his teammate Brando. He has to give the 97 room. That's a battle for 9th place between teammates Brando on the bottom, Richardson up top.
I guess another way to make yourself to the inside line is by essentially forcing yourself in there. That works too.
Yeah, that will work for sure. But yeah, now we've completed 36 laps, so this next lap could be the start. We said 37 to 42 laps. 37 is the extreme undercut, so we'll have to see, does anyone come in this time? So far, no one in the pack has come in. Here's our 2 leaders all by themselves, 2 seconds up on their nearest competitor, Lathan Strickland. They could probably afford to come in a lap after these guys if they come in sooner, like the 48 and 31. They have such a big gap, they don't have to really force their way onto pit road quite yet.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I mean, like you said, they could essentially play it on the fly and really feel out everyone else, which is a huge advantage to them, but I'm still curious to see what happens out of these guys right here.
Exactly. So we'll have to see Mathis Wells and Chris Jericho still at the front of the field, just how they've been all race long, first and second, with Wells out in front, Jericho in second. Neither of them are biting. They're going to stay out. I think they just know they don't want to be the first ones in. They just know that they have the track position. They have the fastest cars, and if they come in soon and a caution comes out, they could get trapped to the back of the field or trapped a lap down, and their race would be over. So they can definitely afford to stay on a lap or 2 longer than anyone behind them just because of the gap. But this is the pack that we know really can shake up the running order depending on when these drivers decide they have to come down pit road. And I think it might be starting right here as Brett Cira dives low. I think Evans and some of these others may be coming in. Strickland is. The front 2 have stayed out. The 48's coming in. Here comes Evans. Hernandez will come in from the front of the field, so he comes in before anyone behind him did. And now Cira's trying to pass Atkins back into turn 1. So there they go for a battle, and pit stops now started here at the Phoenix International Raceway. Still Wells and Jericho out there. You have to assume they'll be coming in soon, though.
Yeah, you definitely have to think so. I don't think this well, actually,
yeah, here
they are coming in this time.
So together they'll come in. Does anyone stay out to try and lead a lap for 5 points? See how far back that pack is. Everyone coming in so far. Luke Rainey is going to stay out, try and lead. But where are those guys so far in front? I think they still led that lap, and they did. So Luke is going to have to stay out and hope they can get it next time. But I think he's the only one that stayed out. Look how busy pit road is. All 42 cars are in at the same time. Mathis Wells, he kind of overshot it.
That's how quickly things can change here on pit road. We'll have to see if he loses time to the 18. I mean, Joe, that was a clear overshot.
The 18's down already, and away it goes. Chris Jericho's going to win the race off pit road. Mathis Wells is going to probably keep second. He might actually lose that because here comes Evans and Strickland, who pitted a lap sooner. Mathis Wells' pit miscue could lose him a few more spots right here. And it will.
That's just, I mean, whether that was on, you know, the crew chief, the spotter, or the driver, I mean, they normally all work together to get these cars into their pits. But, I mean, that was he's got one of the easiest pit stalls. He's the very first one.
Yeah, he knows where it is, so it's not like he could have been caught off guard by that, but Luke Renee did lead the last lap. How about the move for Evan Hunter through the field? Up to 6th place. He entered in 13th. He picked up 7 spots by pitting sooner. He's now right on the back of Ruiz. Someone drove through the grass coming off pit road. Might have been in a side-by-side battle. Evan Hunter is up in front of Brett Cira. The 25 has dropped on pit road. Look at his teammate Justin Seidel is right behind him, and Seidel started way back, so Cira did not have a good pit cycle at all as Jericho cycles out to the lead. He has 2.4 seconds on Evans, then Lathan Strickland, and then Mathis Wells is 3.3 seconds back. Cira went from about 7th place to 10th on pit stops.
That's there's a lot of shuffling going on, Joe.
Yes, there is. That's why we like pit stops where the tires wear out, and you can really make some moves because, you know, hey, you lose about 2 seconds on old tires, so if you come in, you can pick up 2 seconds on those fresh tires.
It's nice how it works out, isn't it? I mean, we still got this pack, though, so we'll have to make sure nothing develops out of that.
And this pack did not go away. It's just some different faces in it now, and it's a little bit of a different order. Remember, Hernandez came in sooner than those guys, but actually lost ground to them. How about that? Because he came in sooner than the 7. He came in soon. I mean, he had a bad pit stop because he came in with the 36 and the 28. The 36 beat him off, and the 28's right behind him. So Hernandez, who had probably about 5 seconds on them, is now with them. So imagine if he didn't have issues on pit road, he could be way up there.
Yeah, and I mean, think about also how congested pit road was when the majority of these guys came down as well, compared to when Hernandez came down, when it was essentially him and what, 2 other cars.
Yeah,
it was a lot cleaner. But at the moment, I mean, this race has changed direction big time as the 18's 2 seconds out in front, and the 20 is now 3 seconds behind. So.
Well, they're closing in, Trey. It's down to now 1.9 seconds. So the 31, the 48, even the 20, they are faster. They're reeling that 18 in. And think about, remember, the 48 was in front of the 31 on pit stops. The 31 passed them on pit road. They came in at the same lap. So the 31 crew did better on pit road. The 31 leaves in front of the 48. Strickland had the faster car in the first run. We'll see if he can try and get by him again. And can they run down Jericho and find a way by him? They're down to 1.9 seconds. Strickland looking for a run off 4. Gets right to the bumper of Evans and looking for a shot into turn 1 right here. They go down to the inside.
He didn't wait as long this time.
No, he did not. He's going to try and make it now. Lathan Strickland for 2nd place on Conrad Evans, trying to get his first win of the season. They race down the dog leg. Evans up top, Strickland down low, racing into turns 3 and 4. Want to give a shout out to some drivers that further back that have moved through the field well. Justin Seidel mentioned him up to 11th. Great pit strategy there. His teammate Strickland completes the pass for 2nd place. Richardson down to 12th. Kugelheim's moved up nicely to 13th. Ryan Wilson from 40th place is up to 14th place. What a drive for Ryan Wilson, just showing the speed of that car. Stout moving back up. Kirchner dropped a spot. Luke ran on fresher tires than anyone on the racetrack. Came out in 17th. We'll see if he can gain some more spots before the end of the race. Laura Chung's up to 19th. Tim Gary down to 22nd place. Fitzwater from the back, started 42nd, is now 25th. Colin Lewis has dropped. Hunter Reed's moved up from his starting spot. Thompson's still down in 32nd. Martinelli's moved up to 34th in the 67. DeLello's still stuck down in 36th. Nathan Baird started inside the top 5. He's down to 38th. Max Davis is down in 40th. He started in 8th. Henry Guo and Angel Gutierrez, last cars on the track, as the gap between the front two, 1.9 seconds. So Strickland passing Evans did lose some time. We'll see now that he's clear the 31. Can he run these guys back down? 1.8 seconds. He gained about a tenth that lap with 14 laps to go. He'd be about 4 tenths back at the checkered flag.
This will be interesting to see if those guys can catch, but we still got some battling going on here. As you can see, Hunter is on the inside of Hernandez there. Is he going to be able to make the pass complete coming out of 3 and 4 here? They're going to hit the brake, but you can really kind of challenge yourself on the outside here if you get a good entry and a run off. One does not do that. Well, I mean, he kind of did, but not the best as you could.
Yeah, so Hunter's going to try and keep that 8th spot. He was up in 6th place, got passed by Atkins, and then Sprotu moved by him, and then Hernandez. So he's trying to get the spot back for the 1 car. That battling, the one hanging on the outside, brought Brett Cira right back into this fight, so Cira can try and pass Hunter back. Remember, he has about a lap fresher tires than the 36 car. Hunter goes up the hill. Those worn tires are definitely affecting him right now. Cira's right there in the bottom lane. Strickland's cut the lead down to 1.6 seconds, but once again, there's still, oh, look at Hernandez, the big dive for 9th place to try and get back on Brett Cira. That could have been a big issue if the 25 Spider did not call inside.
Wow, that was a very aggressive move. I'm surprised he did that. I didn't think he was going to make that aggressive of a move, but he's making it work so far. And like you said, if the 25 spotter did not say anything, that they were both going into the inside wall or the outside wall.
Could have been the inside wall, depending on where they slid to. But they're still side by side for 9th place, and even while they're side by side, Hunter's not been able to get away from them. I thought maybe, these two keep out in the 36 and try and pull away. Look at Cira on the outside of 1 and 2, fighting to get ahead down the dog leg, but doesn't clear the 1 car. Now through 3 and 4, Hernandez will have the advantage down the bottom, and these two being side by side, here comes Seidel and Richardson to make it a 4-car race for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Meanwhile, at the front, 1.4 seconds between the front two with 10 laps to go.
I don't know if that lead gap is closing fast enough. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get up to the leader. I mean, unless he hits lap traffic, and with this type of lap traffic, I mean, Joe, there's no damaged cars, so it's not like it's going to be an easy pass, but I don't know how close Jericho is to anyone.
These two are still side by side. What is this, 3 or 4 laps they've been side by side for?
So remember when I said that you can make the top side work here?
And Brett Cira's making it. He's saying, listen, I have a good car. Let me go. Let me get by. But Hernandez, you know him. He wants every spot he can. And here they are, side by side, 9th and 10th. Cira getting the run off the top of 1 and 2. Is it enough to clear down the dogleg? I don't think so. The win is still to the inside.
Well, now we've got some more company, Joe. We got a little bit of Brett Cira teammate there and Richardson. So you might think that the 24 would help the 25, but with the 99 being behind them, I don't know if he's really going to risk that.
And with the seasons Idell has had, he just wants a top 10. I mean, think about Chicago and had a shot to win. Chris Jericho passed him late, ended up finishing 3rd there. And then at Bristol, he got dumped by Chris Jericho while running inside the top 10. So he just wants to get back up towards the front again. Cira finally on the outside clears the 1 car. What a move for Brett Cira down to turns 3 and 4 to make it work. Zidell's going to lose a spot to Keyshawn Richardson. That's going to be 11th place at the front. 1 second between the front 2 with less than 10 laps to go. It's coming down, but does it come down fast enough? Jericho still has a gap. Look at these guys still stuck by Bippy Rose trying to hold on for a top 5. Atkins and Sprinter trying to get by him. At the front, there's Jericho, but he can see the 48 in his mirror now. That could create some nerves for Chris Jericho, who was by himself pretty much all race long with Mathis Wells. Now he has company, and it's from a different team.
So where do we watch right now? There's too much going on the track.
There's you know what? Phoenix isn't known for something like this, but yeah, normally you don't go to Phoenix and say, where do I watch? what do I watch? But here today, it's what do I watch and how many things can I watch at once because there's so much going on.
Well, right now, Jericho just has to hit his lines, and he should be good, but I don't know. That 48 seems to be getting faster and faster the longer we go here, and again, the question is there going to be enough time? I don't know if there is.
5 laps to go. That was a 10th right there, down to 0.8 of a second. But with 5 to go, if he gains a 10th, he'll only be 0.3 back at the checkered flag. So he needs a little bit more than what he's gaining right now. In fact, the front 4 are all closing back in. Jericho had pulled away to a very nice gap. Remember, he left pit road 3.3 seconds in front of Mathis Wells. Wells has cut the gap down to 2 seconds, so he's gained 1.3 seconds since they came off pit road. It's still closing up with now 4 laps to go for Chris Jericho, trying to get his 3rd win here at Phoenix in just 4 races. He's found out the magic to this racetrack.
Now, we know Jericho's not one to crack under pressure, so we ain't got to worry about that, but it's more of how hungry is that 48 in Strickland?
Oh, so hungry, Trey. I mean, to not win this season in a Hendrick car, your teammates up there leading the points and dominating the season, and you haven't won. Keegan Thompson's won a few times. Cira's won a few times. You want to win badly with just 3 laps to go. He really needs to find some. He gained 0.2 that time. With 3 to go, it's down to half a second between the front 2. At the moment, if he keeps gaining 0.2 of a second, he'll be there at the white flag lap. The question is, can he find a way around him? Because we've seen here today, Trey, catching is one thing, but what about passing?
Well, when it comes down to the last lap, you get a little bit more, your guidelines for passing kind of go out the window and you do whatever you can, right? So we'll have to see if we get to that situation there as he is still visibly closing up to this 18.
2 laps to go, just about 0.4 between them. Now we could measure it in car lengths. No longer do we need tenths. It's about 3 to 4 or 5 car lengths between them as they race down the dogleg to see the white flag this time by. It's all coming down to the wire here in the Checker Auto Parts 500. Chris Jericho versus Lathan Strickland for the win here at Phoenix as they come off turn number 4. Strickland closing in again off 4. Here's the white flag in the final lap at Phoenix.
I just feel like Strickland's able to do corner entry and exit so much better than the 18 here, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be enough. He's got one more set of quarters to really do something here, Joe.
If the race were 5 laps longer, we'd be in for one heck of a show, but it's all coming down to the end right here. Into turns 3 and 4 for the final time for Chris Jericho in the 18. He won here in 2000. He won here in 2001. He comes off turn number 4. He'll win here in 2003. 3 for 4 at Phoenix for Chris Jericho here in the number 18 car.
I do got to say, I think we had a couple more laps, Joe. We might be saying a different story.
Look, they were 3 wide across the line for about 10th place.
Where did I even see that? I was looking at the leaders.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, if there were 5 more laps, Lathan Strickland is hounding the 18 and has to find a way around him, and he might find a way around him because he was so much faster than him. As you mentioned, he entered the corner and exited. I don't know how he could enter so hard, but exit just as good, even better than Jericho was.
You know, I would love to see what the tires on the 8 or on the 48 look like right now because I bet you they are down to the threads.
mean, I don't doubt it with how hard he was driving. He gave it his all there at the end, but just could not get to the Phoenix Master. And Trey, how about this? He joins you as the winningest driver at Phoenix, 3 apiece.
Hey, I mean, if that just shows you anything. This 18's someone not to be messing with.
No,
Oh, and he missed us all again.
he did. How about that? I think that time was because the 31 was there. He didn't want to hit him, but yeah, I mean, just kind of a weird situation right there for Matt Wells. 2 times right here. Luckily, this time was after the race, but lost some ground because of that on his pit stop. But here are the finishing results from Phoenix. Unexpected, kind of right down to the wire type race, where we see Chris Jericho hold on over Lathan Strickland 0.2 of a second between them. So what a drive that was right there all the way down to the wire. Conrad Evans ends up in 3rd place. A very solid day, was top 5 all race long and just kind of held on there. Matt Wells, you have to think, what if he didn't miss his pit stall coming in and didn't have to enter at an awkward angle? Could he be the one standing in victory lane, or at least 2nd or 3rd place? Wells ends up in 4th. He does gain some slight points where he got the bonus points for leading the most laps. Cira didn't get to lead a lap here today, so Wells does cut into it. It's not too much because Cira did move up through the field. Baby Ruiz, another very impressive run this season, and it's another top 5 for that number 7 driver. They could be a shot at a win, maybe an underdog type win at the track later this season. Riley Sprigg with a solid day, same with Justin Atkins. Brett Cira came from 19th to 8th, so he minimized the points lost to drivers like Riley Sprigg, who were Mathis Wells or Lathan Strickland, and actually gained some points on drivers like Eli Bright. Evan Hunter gained points on Keyshawn Richardson, who entered 3rd in points. Richardson gets 9th, and Anthony Hernandez held on for 10th in that 3-way battle. Seidel ends up in 11th. Kukulon up to 12th at the end. Hunter all the way down to 13th. He was dropping there on those worn tires. Stout in 14th, and Luke Rennie gained some spots on those fresh tires up to 15th. Ryan Wilson from the back, 17th. Same with Sarah Kirchner in 18th. Gary gets a top 20 there at the end. Benny Lynn with a solid day in 21st place for Chip Ganassi Racing. Eli Bright didn't have the second round of the race. They won it down in 22nd. Matthew Burnett down in 23rd. Crown Jr. and Reed, the teammates, 26th and 27th. Joshua Harrison a solid day in 29th. Fitzwater from 42nd and 30th. You see Thompson hit the wall early on, never could recover, back in 31st place. Nathan Orman, Nathan Stipton solid day, same with Martinelli. There you see DeLello struggled down in 36th. Collins also struggled down in 38th. Quo, last car in the top 40. Nathan Baird from 5th ends up in 42nd. Max Davis from 8th ends up in 41st here today. So some of the underdogs that started well could not finish there. Now, Trey, we take a look at the points. Still Cira on top. Some drivers just kind of took little bites out of the championship lead. But as we head into an off week, Trey, what does this do? Cira's on top. Some drivers have some slight momentum towards them. Could that shift the momentum as we enter into these final few races?
You would definitely think. I mean, a lot of these teams are going to go back and think of what they can do for the final races, how they can get some sort of advantage, and really, try to tackle the hill that they have to go catch, Brett Cira there. And Brett Cira, his team, all they got to do is just maintain. At this point, they just got to get good finishes, and they'll be all right. Maybe average a top 10 finish within there somewhere, and you might be, just enough to walk away with this. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen. We've learned that before, and it seems like every time we mention it, something happens that none of us expect to happen. So we'll have to see what goes on.
They know what they've been doing this season is good enough, because whenever they have a bad day, others have a lot worse days than them, so it all kind of balances out. But after the off week, things could change. Maybe a team finds momentum, maybe one falls off. We're going to find out how it goes in 2 weeks' time at the Pocono Raceway for the Pennsylvania 500. So we'll see if the Tricky Triangle has a play in how this championship outcome starts as we're entering into the final 10 races of the 2003 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. But today it's all about Chris Jericho getting yet another win on the 2003 season. Maybe he could be one to try and find his way up into the championship fight towards the end of the season, just like he did last season, coming from nowhere, having a shot right down to the wire. But yeah, what a race here at Phoenix. In 2 weeks' time at JRTV, we'll be there at the Pocono Raceway. Tune in then. For Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Rakowski. So long from the Checker Auto Parts 500 here at Phoenix.